Jefferson County jury has sentenced a Port Arthur man to 75 years in prison for a 2021 murder.
The jury handed down the sentence late this afternoon. Prosecutors say 23-year-old Stephen shot Jacoby Rubin after they fought on Liberty Avenue in Port Arthur. You can see some of what went down in the distance behind that house. According to investigators, the guys met up after arguing online. During testimony today, Angel's mom told the jury her son had struggled with following the rules since he was in 8th grade. Didn't seem to matter much, getting that 75-year sentence. His first trial, though, ended in a hung jury back in February.
Hey, just outside, right now. Tommy? Come on, we need some help here. As the court would place in the record, within the last hour, the court received a verdict from the jury in the case of Stephen Angel in a murder case, and the jury found the defendant guilty of the offense of murder as alleged in the indictment. So the court accepted the verdict and then broke for the lunch hour. And as participants and the jury and spectators were leaving the courtroom, this court saw some activity at the doorway, and I could see one or two bodies, and it was obvious that physical confrontation was going on at the doorway, inside the doorway, and at the doorway of this courtroom, as the court was still in session on this matter. I've reviewed a video because we've got videos everywhere, and I see three people flailing, punching at each other at the doorway of this courtroom and breaking some of the chairs outside, but it was a free-for-all fist fight going on. Y'all three, I recognize all three of you. This is a court of justice, a courthouse of justice, of honor. This is the last thing that should ever happen in this building, because we're trying to resolve problems in a humane and dignified and educated and advanced method. We're not cavemen, although you three acted like it, like we were back in the caves again, without any rules, without any sense of respect for each other. The proceedings moved forward in due process. The jury had their job, the attorneys had their job, and then we went through the penal code, the code of criminal procedure, and the rules of evidence to get to a disposition in this case, like we do in every case, using the rule of law, not fist fighting in front of the public. Can you imagine if this is what we did normally? We don't really need a building. We just meet and punch it out. We're not cavemen. We're supposed to be advanced thinkers, but not everybody thinks advanced thought. That's foolish. That was foolish. And I see assaults. Now, I understand that no one wants to press charges against anybody, but let me tell you this, I'm pressing the charges. You do it at the door of my courtroom while in session, you're going to get held in contempt of court. All three of you are charged with contempt of court. Carries with it up to 60 days in jail, 180 days in jail, 6 months, 6 months. And don't think I won't set an example, because this isn't going to be the kind of activity that decent law-abiding, advanced human thought in America is supposed to be about. And it'll be made an example out of. And we got the video, and it didn't happen exactly in my presence. So it's going to be what's called constructive contempt. It still happened over this court's authority and power at the door of its courtroom while in session, which means I can't hold a hearing right now. But what I'm going to do is you're all arrested. You're going to go to jail, and we'll bring you back, and we'll have hearings on each of these cases, and I'll get to make the determination up to 6 months in the county jail. And don't you think I won't make an example? Because this isn't the kind of behavior which you can do and then walk away from it as though nothing happened. We're supposed to set examples of behavior for all of us. And some of these cases have terrible situations. I presided over the James Byrd murder cases. I was one of the prosecutors. You don't think that was hostile? Because there were a lot of folks who felt like justice needed to be served in different ways, but we did the rule of law. The rule of law worked. Those people were prosecuted and then executed for what they did. You don't think that the experience and the sacrifices that we put in to see humanitarian ways of doing justice and the rule of law and due process works? Or is there another way? No, it worked so that the people knew that this Constitution, the flag, and the rules in the Constitution are something to be honored, that we handle our problems in a disciplined, mature, advanced method so that we are the example for the rest of the world. But that's not the way that worked out there in that doorway. All y'all did was that acted like the kids do at school grounds before we learned and get educated, duking it out there in front of everybody. People are here to resolve their problems in an honorable, disciplined way under the rule of law. What kind of example is that set that y'all can duke it out and just flail at each other, break things, and disrupt the proceeding? Disrupted my proceeding. I had to stop the proceedings that we were conducting here to finish this. But you got my attention, and you're gonna have hearings, each of you, and I'll get to make the decision because you don't have a jury trial. It's in front of me. And you can be ultimately sentenced in jail up to 6 months. Does everybody understand that? All of you? Okay, I need everybody's names. Yours first, sir.
Charles Nicholas Jr.
All right, spell your first name. Is it Charles?
Yes, sir.
Your middle name, sir?
David. David
And surname, last name?
Nicholas. Nicholas.
And you, sir?
Charles Nicholas Sr.
And you, sir? Your name?
Last name Angel. First name Steron.
How do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce it? Steron? Steron?
That'll do.
Okay, what we call this is what's called constructive contempt. That means it didn't completely happen in the court's view, but it happened where it disrupted the court's lawful duties in our hearings because it all occurred at this doorway. Turn your phone off, please. Thank you. It's called constructive or indirect contempt. And again, this is what's called criminal contempt rather than civil contempt, because you can be placed up to 6 months in the county jail. So all of you will be arrested. Each of you are going to be, there's a bond that I'm ordering of $1,000 in each case, for each case. I'm going to set this for a hearing in 4 to 6 weeks. And if you're unable to hire an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. Are all of you going to be able to hire attorneys, or are you going to need appointed attorneys? Sir, you're going to hire somebody, and you, sir, Ms.
Point.
You want somebody to, we're going to get you to fill something out. I need him to do an indigent form. If you're indigent or unable to hire somebody, one will be appointed immediately to help you, okay?
Y'all hold on, we're gonna take him into custody properly before he fills that out. You want to take those cuffs off.
That would be done later. Okay. I think that's, you've been given notice of what you're charged with. Assault is under section 22. A person commits an offense of assault if the person intentionally, knowingly or recklessly causes bodily injury to another, or intentionally or knowingly threatens another with imminent bodily injury, or intentionally or knowingly causes physical contact with another when the person knows or should reasonably believe that the other will regard the contact as offensive or provocative. The offense is generally for assault, a Class A misdemeanor, which carries with it up to 1 year in the county jail. But the court on proceeding with contempt, in a contempt proceeding, again, can sentence the offenders up to 6 months, but you have an opportunity to be heard with due process and present evidence on your behalf in to answer the proceedings. And again, criminal contempt is punishable because it concerns an act which affronts the dignity and authority of the court. And the primary purpose of criminal contempt proceeding is to vindicate the public authority. And committing assaults in the doorway of a courtroom, where in this courthouse, where justice is the determining goal in all of our proceedings, in a dignified and non-hostile way of advanced human actions and thought. That's the way we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And every case has emotional issues. We never have problems like we had just a moment ago. And that cannot be tolerated, and it will not be. It will have its punishment attached to the actions. Does everybody understand? All right, that is all. We're in recess on this. Here, can you make some copies of this, please? Actually, the damages were far less than I thought they were going to be. 8,000. I thought it was going to be 2,000 or 3,000. But still, you don't pay a dime. Somebody wants to pay any money for,
I can't pursue.
It is up being 500 something divided three ways. That's the way you're gonna do it. Come on up.
What?
Just go on up, sir.
That would be like a presumption, you get a jury.
All right, we call, you're staring out and jail. You have to speak up, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. And Charles Nicholas Senior
Yes.
and Charles Nicholas Junior.
Yes, sir.
Oh. On July 18th, which is 6 days ago, last Friday, this court was in court session on the case of Stephen Angel as a defendant in a murder case. And the jury had returned a verdict finding the defendant guilty of murder. It was about lunchtime. We broke for lunch and I ordered the jury to return back and the parties to return back after lunch to begin the punishment phase of the trial. While we were in that phase, Mr. Grove and the parties were exiting the courtroom. Mr. Grove, David Grove, one of our public defenders, was proceeding immediately into a hearing that we were conducting on a plea. And what was the case, David? Do you remember the defendant's name?
No, sir.
Okay, because you do a lot of them. Thank you. Here. Everybody gets one of these. You got one of these. You give this to Mr. Andrew. Thank you. And as the parties were exiting, Mr. Grove was beginning to get this plea underway, and then we were breaking for lunch and we were going to return back. The jury was just exiting here at the doorway. The court heard voices, loud voices. There was a slamming and bumping up against the door. The bailiffs rushed out to take care of what was obviously a disturbance going on at the courthouse door. And the court had to terminate in the middle of the hearing and postpone that for a later time as we were resolving what the disturbance was. So the court walked out and then saw the three individuals being arrested. And these were family members of the Stephen Angel case matter, people who were involved, victim, defendant, three people related to the parties. The court, in just a matter of minutes, actually received a copy of the video of the proceeding. There was a camera right over our doorway, and I looked at that, and it was plain to see what had happened, where three people, the parties involved in this matter, had gotten into a confrontation, and shoving and the throwing of fists were part of a fight that was going on. Involved was Charles David Nicholas Senior, Charles David Nicholas Junior, and Stephen Angel. Unfortunately, these are Mr. Angel is related to the defendant, and then the Nicholases are related to the deceased in the murder case involving Stephen Angel that the court was in the middle of and had just received a verdict. So the court brought the individuals in because the court was in a multitude of important matters at the time. We could not fully conduct a hearing on that matter, but the court reviewed and is following the Court of Criminal Appeals decision in 1987, ex parte Daniels of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, which is quite similar in issues and facts to the issues in this matter of contempt, as the court ordered them to be presented to immediately come before the court, and the court orally charged them, the three individuals, with contempt. And the issue became, is it direct contempt or constructive contempt? That is, direct contempt or indirect contempt. Direct contempt occurs when it occurs in the presence of the court. Indirect is a matter that occurs outside the presence of the court, but in each case, disruptive behavior, committing a crime, failing to follow a court order, all of those are part of the equation that the court has at its disposal in dealing with matters to ensure that the court's business is conducted in a civilized, peaceful, lawful fashion. The big question, the big issue here on this case is direct contempt versus indirect contempt. Direct contempt involves behavior which occurs in the presence of the court. The court was sitting where it is now, on this bench, in this chair, and the people in the court had been recessed on the murder case on Mr. Angel for lunch, and we were return afterwards to pick up the punishment phase. And at the doorway, the court, as people were leaving, the court then was, as Mr. Grove was beginning his plea with his client, the court heard loud noises, shouting, banging on the door. The bailiffs in my court exited quickly and moved toward the noise and exited. And this hearing had to be stopped. So it interrupted the court's hearing that was being held with Mr. Grove and his client. But yet, the court went outside and saw these three individuals being detained by law enforcement. The court saw some jurors watching from a vantage point not far. I noticed some of the jurors were watching and from that murder case, and then they left. There was damage to the chairs outside the courtroom, and then the court brought the three individuals here today, Mr. Nicholas, and Mr. Angel, and then spoke to them about their actions, which this court deemed to be disruptive and in contempt. The court had also, within just a few minutes, 5-10 minutes of the event, received a copy of the camera recording of the scuffle, and this court picks up from when the parties were leaving this courtroom at the doorway, and then this court saw, even though there's no audio to it, the court saw the confrontation begin, then turned shoving and punch throwing. And then authorities intervened quickly. But at the conclusion of all of this, what had happened is this court's business was disrupted. The scuffle is occurring at the doorway of the courtroom. Jurors of this case were in the vicinity and could see what was going on. This is bad in many different ways. And this isn't the way the rules of procedure and the rules of handling matters in this courthouse are supposed to be handled. So, to preserve the Court of Criminal Appeals, the highest court in criminal cases for Texas, has stated that to preserve order in a courtroom for the proper conduct of business, the court must act instantly to suppress disturbances or violence or physical obstructions or disrespect to the court when occurring in open court. And there is no need of evidence or assistance of counsel before this court can exercise its enforcement and punish those who are disruptive. And this is all concerning the dignity of the court and the authority that is necessary for us to resolve issues in a nonviolent, higher educational level method that the justice system is supposed to be a part of. Now, the question becomes whether this occurred in the presence of the court. And this court decision, Ex parte Daniels, 722 Southwest 2nd, 707, which is a 1987 case, a decision by the Court of Criminal Appeals in Bonk, that is the whole court made this decision because they felt it was important that all the judges be heard in the matter. And the issue became, did it happen in the presence of the court? If it's in the presence of the court, I can deal with it immediately, or I can postpone it like I've done and deal with it later. But in that special scenario, that's called a direct contempt proceeding, which the parties do not need a lawyer, aren't required to have a lawyer. This court can deal with it as soon as it's expedient. If it's not in the presence of the court, then it becomes what's called civil contempt, which still can be punitive, but in civil contempt, the parties are allowed an opportunity to hire a lawyer and can deal with it at a subsequent time. However, this was a case that occurred dramatically similar to the situation here. The question becomes, what does in the presence of the court mean? And the Court of Criminal Appeals ruled this way. The presence of the court does not necessarily mean in the immediate presence of the trial judge. The judge has, the court has held that the court is present and things happen in the presence of the court whenever any of its constituent parts, the courtroom, the jury room, or the doorway, are involved are all involved in the work of the court. And it is for this determination and reason that the courts have held that you can be committed to direct contempt proceedings when someone is just placing publications, contemptuous publications, in the corridors of the courthouse where prospective jurors would necessarily see them. I mean, that's the far range aspect of how this court can have authority. we're not talking about people setting publications in the corridors of the courthouse that might affect jurors. What we had here was a fight going on at the doorway of this courtroom after the court had just immediately received a verdict finding the defendant guilty. And uh, uh, relations, people related to the defendant and the victim were scuffling, and in the midst of an assault, it also interrupted the proceedings that the court was holding with Mr. Grove and his client, which had to be postponed and still, and then were disposed of at a later time. And then the court also lost its bailiffs that are required to be present at all times in this courtroom during its business, as they went out to immediately stop the scuffle and deal with the problem that it was having to deal with. So what this means altogether is this works just as though y'all had fought in front of it. Because we had that murder case and then we went into another murder case and just completed that second murder case last night. I've asked the parties to come before the court. The court, because it was having to deal with those more important matters at the time, did bring the parties present, then postpone further proceedings. But it's the court's finding that these are direct contempt proceedings, and this court can make its decision. Did anybody stay in jail overnight, Mr. Angel? How long were you in jail before you posted a bond?
There about 2:00
A few hours
overnight, and the next
It was overnight?
couple
Okay.
hours.
What about y'all,
We stayed about 7,
sir?
about 7 o'clock that night.
That night, okay. But y'all were arrested, brought to jail, and then
Yes.
The damage done by this ridiculous behavior is ended up costing $519.26 to the people of the taxpayers of Jefferson County. So each of you are going to pay your part. That's $175 each. Everybody, you, Mr. Angel, and Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Nicholas, you will be ordered to pay restitution to Jefferson County. The taxpayers, Jefferson County, the county treasurer had to buy the new equipment that is now placed out there. You will be ordered to pay that. Do you understand, everybody?
Yes, sir.
When can y'all pay that?
I paid today.
How about you, Mr. Angel? How much time do you need?
Feel the taxpayers, if you want to implicate them.
No, I'm not implicating
Taxpayers-
them. They're getting paid back for the
All right,
loss.
and listen, the taxpayers' time is not only money is not only cash, but time is money. And money is time. So I feel they can get that back from me through time.
You're still going to pay the restitution. Do you understand?
However.
Okay. Each of you will be ordered to serve 3 days in jail. 3 days in jail. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
Everybody understand? It's and ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $175. You'll be given. You've already served 1 day. I give credit for 1 day for each of you. So, when can y'all begin the service?
Can I start it? Can I turn myself in tomorrow?
Sir?
Can I turn myself in tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
I just started school this week and I want.
Yes, sir. That's just 2 more days.
Okay.
2 more days. When can you go, Mr. Angel?
Today.
All right. And,
I need to call my job and everything.
yes, sir. Okay. All right. Do that and let me know, and then we'll work with y'all. Also, a part of the judgment, again, each person pays $175. That was put into the equation, so the court decided you didn't need to do 6 months. But the taxpayers, including you, all of us are taxpayers one way or the other in this county. But we all pay our part. When tax revenue, assets are damaged, person responsible for it, the people responsible need to pay back for the people. So the court will order each of you to pay $175, and if everybody's credited for 1 day, 2 more days at on a time that y'all can work with. And we need to know, again, Mr. Nicholas, on you, you're going to, Mr. Angel says he's going to turn himself in on or before 6 o'clock today.
No, I'm just taking it from here.
Well, do you want to turn, you're going to get credit for the day, but you can stay out until 6.
All right, we can do that.
Okay. But on or before 6 o'clock. Yeah, your word's good enough. And what about Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Nicholas?
Tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
All right. And
6 o'clock.
then that just gives you 2 more days. But please, and also, when are y'all going to pay this restitution back? You said today?
I can pay it right now.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure how that,
Judge, I'm not quite sure
I think that-
we collect the money. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls.
I think the jail normally does that. Don't the jail collect on restitution when they're?
No, I don't think so.
No, the jail doesn't collect any money, and I can't take in any money on behalf of the court. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls. If everyone can just hang tight, and let me figure out how we can get the money from.
Yeah, let's figure that out, because this is kind of unusual. And so we can get it done right, okay?
So if everyone can just hang tight for about an hour, let me try to figure out how to get that and get the paperwork done for them.
Okay,
And-
you can work on that right now?
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah,
Just
no.
hang loose, not an hour, just about 20 minutes. We ought to have an answer, okay? All right.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
I want to apologize to you.
That's all right. That's all right. It's tough for everybody. It's tough for everybody. But every case we have, I've had 600 jury trials here. 600 I've presided over. It's hard on everybody. But the worst thing you have is to show violence here in the courthouse when we're trying to resolve problems in a modern, sophisticated way. Now, people aren't always happy with the way things happen, but it's under rules, the rules of evidence. I helped write the rules of evidence. The rules of evidence, the Code of Criminal Procedure, there's rules. We're not cavemen that go out there and just seek our own way of justice. I mean, it's under rules, or it would be chaos. And we developed it because that's why we're the leading country on the planet. People want to be like us in the way we resolve problems. But this building is filled with problems that we're having to resolve. And a lot of it is very emotional. And nobody can appreciate it more. Everybody needs to know. I was in the United States Attorney's Office. I was the United States Attorney for 20 years before this. And then here going on 20 years. And James Byrd trial, I'm right in the middle of that, prosecuting that. You want to talk about emotion. Nothing was more, has impacted my life and this country than what happened in the James Byrd matter. But how did we dispose of it? How did we resolve it? We didn't just go out and just start fighting and disrupting and seeking immediate justice. We did it in an orderly fashion. And at the end of the day, people were executed under rules of order. Mr. Byrd didn't get that. I mean, he was brutally murdered for no reason except for his race. And it's one of the rules. We're all in this together, all of us. We all look different, unique. We're all unique people, all of us. But we're also fellow Americans and citizens that have to live together, not only on this planet, but in this country and deal with our problems. All of us have problems, every one of us. There's no perfection in it, but we got the thing we have that's important is we have each other that we try to get along with. And because we're stronger when we work as a team, as a unit, all shapes, sizes, and colors. And these are emotional things that occur. But when we lose our focus and then resort to violence, then the rules aren't applicable anymore. And people get hurt, and it's a bad example. And it's certainly not anything that we want this courthouse and our county to be known for. It's known for justice. And that's the kind of thing that it was meant to be. Just when something bad like that happens with James Byrd, you don't just take it into your own hands. You work it deliberately under the rules and make sure that justice is served. That's what the Attorney General ordered me to do, is see that justice is done and make sure that those people are held accountable and fairness, but justice is served. Yes, I think I saluted that lady because she was that kind of lady. She was a general. But it works. I've seen it work. I know how it works. And when something like this happens, that's just a bad example to set. But yeah, I've been upset. Everybody loses composure. You have lost composure. Okay. We're fixing this. We move on. We do better, get this behind us, and be the best we can be. Anything else? Awesome. All right, let's live together, try to live together and work through this, because we've got winners and losers and victims all the way around here. And we'll put everything back together and move forward as best we can, peaceably. Right? Yeah, everybody. That's what's right. And here we got families. Y'all know each other. And like I said, my grandmother, my grandparents, my dad grew up about a block or two from where this happened. And so I was over there all the time. I played in Gillum Circle all growing up as a little big kid. And it's not supposed to be a place where there's 88 people shoot 88 times in the residence area in a neighborhood. It's supposed to stand for something better than that. People go to live together peaceably as best we can with all our differences. Still, we're fellow human beings and fellow citizens. All right. Anything else? That is all. Then we're in recess. Thank you.